Hi Aries, welcome to your July 2019 tarot reading. This is a general tarot reading for the month of July. So I'm just I was going to say shaking the cards. Shaking the cards. Whoa, something, oops, it's funny, this card like jumped out and I actually bent it. So that one's going to go there. It just jumped out of my hand. Okay. The heart of the matter is the Judgment card. The Judgment card it has different connotations, one of them being a legal judgment that you're dealing with. And, you know, for instance, if there's some kind of like a probate issue, I could see you feeling a sense of like, you know, what does this mean, this legal judgment? What does this say about you? What does this say about your life right now? The other thing too is, to me, the Judgment card is like the chickens coming home to roost. So every time that we have something happen to us that we don't want, it's easy to just talk about, you know, the person who we think is responsible that isn't us. And really, the Judgment card is about cause and effect. And it's funny because even if we look at this card as an issue in judgment, this can be a cause and effect too, because Aries as a sign tends to be very spontaneous. And and that's a positive side, but sometimes it can be being too rash. And what happens is that you don't have proper judgment when you jump into things. And yet, sometimes it will work out because, you know, if you hone your intuition, you can make snap judgments and have them come out quite well. And actually, I think that Aries tends to be very successful as a sign because of this, because you're able to assess a situation very quickly and take advantage of it. And you have a bit of that risk-taking mojo inside of you. So you're the kind of person who gets off on that, whereas other people, that scares them to do something that they're not sure how it's going to work out. So it's kind of a mixed bag, in other words, is that sometimes it can work, sometimes it can't. So the issue of judgment may be coming up for you in some way, something maybe you trusted somebody that you shouldn't have. Now this is in the upright position, so it may not be bad judgment necessarily, so maybe it is more of a legal judgment, or the Judgment card can be rebirth. So you may have been in a situation where you felt that you were unhappy, and now you are, you know, getting freed from it, or freeing yourself in any case. The past position, we have the Page of Swords, and this is that spy, that person who's kind of like maybe even documenting in a surreptitious or kind of the sly kind of way what they need to, like in the workplace. Maybe you're dealing with some workplace matter and you've had to kind of like write down a list of all the infractions that have occurred against you, and because maybe you feel that something is unfair and you've had to do that kind of very slyly. It's so funny because my partner has a friend who's an Aries, and the two of them have been best friends for many years, and he was like advising his friend about, you know, some woman, and telling him these things that you can do, like, you know, to get her back. But he, you know, he wasn't supposed to, his friend wasn't supposed to like tell this woman all the little things he was doing to get her back. And because he was an Aries, he just said, okay, I'm going to do this. First, I'm going to be, he was like really exposing his plan to get her back. And this is kind of like Aries can be very innocent and naively transparent. And with the Page of Swords, you have to be kind of cunning. You have to be kind of, this is more of a card of cunning, the Seven of Swords. The Page of Swords is more of really documenting what is going on and being aware and watching your back too. It's not getting lulled into a false sense of security. Now, this is in the past tense, so this may be something that you've been up to lately. The higher message is the Eight of Pentacles. So this is about a job well done, and also this can be a very powerful money card. The 8 is a power number, and this is Pentacles, this is money. And this is also about perfecting your craft. One of the things that this could be, too, is about training for something. Maybe you are kind of in a job where you have, that it has run its course in terms of like how far you can go. And perhaps you have been disappointed that maybe you got passed over for a promotion that you really feel that you deserved, and there was a reason why you didn't get it and you don't buy it. Because, for instance, sometimes you may have seniority somewhere, but somebody else comes in and they have like a master's degree, and you just, I'm saying that with air quotes, they have a bachelor's degree, or, something along those lines, where you have like a lot of experience in your field, but they promote somebody who's hardly been there that long, and use the excuse of, well, they have more education or something like that. So it might be talking about you needing to go back and get another certification or skill in order to avoid that happening in the future, if this is something you like to do. Because the Eight of Pentacles is a card of somebody like doing a good job. And when we feel like our heart isn't into something, and as fire signs, I'm a Sagittarius, so I totally understand this. You're an Aries. Fire signs, we want to feel passionate about what we're doing. If we don't feel a sense of passion, it's very hard to fake it. What crosses you is the Chariot card. This is a card of success, so you can feel like you've been thwarted in this department. This is also the sign of Cancer. So if this is a personal relationship, maybe this person is a Cancer, and you may be thinking, with the Eight of Pentacles, this is a card of, trying very hard, but as a spiritual message, maybe you're trying too hard to make something work that's really, basically a sign that two people are incompatible to one another. So you have to really tune into the situation at a deeper level and make sure that you're not just trying to hold on to a relationship that is not something that is good for you. And it's hard sometimes to admit that to yourself, because you may feel like we've had some good times, but perhaps you've had more bad times than good times, and you need to really be honest with yourself. I don't know. The Chariot card can point to perhaps wanting to travel, not being able to. We are having Mercury retrograde in July. And it's funny because it's actually occurring in your 4th and 5th houses. But your 9th house, Jupiter is retrograding there. And that is the house of foreign travel. So maybe there's something along those lines that is kind of like being held up. Jupiter will go direct in August 11th. So maybe that's just going to be delayed for a little bit. As I said, I think I said it's a card of victory or success. Maybe that's, you feel like you have been prevented that for some reason. And, you know, it is what it is. You have to accept that, you know, whatever it is that you want may not come to pass in this moment because perhaps you're not in the right place or the right relationship. And that could be a sign that you're not aligned with it, you know. The advice is a Seven of Swords. This is a card of, I mean, sometimes this card can indicate like sketchy behavior, cheating, deceptive behavior from somebody else, or even physical theft. As advice, I would say this is, you know, you're going to get away from the situation, but you want to do so in a very intelligent way. I always say, don't let them know that you've broken up with them. If you want to get away from a relationship that you feel is not serving you, you just gradually, you know, distance yourself from that person. And that's the way. Rather than make a big announcement, you know, do something more subtle. And that way the other person will never see it coming. You know what I mean? And it can make things a lot easier. And that's the bottom line, is we're trying to make things, you know, happen a little bit less full of drama, and just to be able to experience a sense of peace as you're trying to change your life. Because you are affected, Aries, by these eclipses that are happening in July by virtue of being a cardinal sign, like Cancer and Capricorn, the two signs that are here in this eclipse. They're engaged, they're triggered by this eclipse. This is going to affect your 4th and 10th houses of home and family and career matters. So for sure, the lunar eclipse is going to happen in your career sector. So that could be what the Judgment card is that crisis point where it's putting, you know, that sense of something coming to awareness. And maybe this is something that has been really percolating behind the scenes for quite a while. Actually, that could be what the Seven of Swords represents, is that you discovered this deception mid-month or so. The outcome is the Queen of Wands. This is a card that is all about confidence as well as ambition at the same time. It has a feminine and masculine split energy. You're a masculine sign, and this could be a person that you meet that is, you know, they say this is Sagittarius. I always say, what about Leo? Because of the sunflower. Both of those signs are fire energies. Aries, which is compatible with you, at least on paper. But in terms of the energy behind this card, it's about if you're a woman, being a career woman, but a confident career woman. Maybe you have been feeling a bit down or a bit not yourself. You know, because Aries is usually very positive. And this is a card of somebody who is exuding positive vibes. So maybe you haven't felt like yourself because of where you've been working. Or if it's if this is a personal relationship, Aries, maybe that person has been dragging you down. So I feel that you're going to come up out of this and become and be more like yourself again by the time this month is over. Okay, that's what I have for you, Aries. If you'd like a private reading, the link is below. If you hear this before July 2nd, I am offering all my readings at 17% off with the coupon code FREEDOM, all caps, 17. Take care. Bye.